So a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with a friend, and they had recently come back from being overseas. And during the conversation, they were telling me about their experience overseas. And they said that it's very expensive and it was very difficult for them to accomplish what they wanted to. They were telling me that the prices there are a lot higher. And since it was only them funding their stay, it was very difficult for them to accomplish what they wanted to because they didn't want to take out any loans. And that conversation had me thinking, is North America the only debt wealth society? Because I remember prior to this individual going abroad, we had a conversation and they were telling me that they started reading books on stoicism and they realized that they have a scarcity mindset and it's something that they felt they needed to work on. But after that conversation, I had to ask ChatGPT because I knew that he'll give me the answer for free. So I asked ChatGPT, what countries fear debt the most? And it said cultures' attitudes towards debt vary drastically depending on history, religion, and economics. Some cultures embrace debt as a tool for growth, while others view it as something that is shameful or dangerous. And here are some that are often described as fearing or avoiding debt the most. Number one, Germany and Northern European countries. Germany, in particular, has a deep cultural aversion to debt. After hyperinflation in the 1920s and the post World War II era, debt became associated with irresponsibility and instability. And because of that, Germans tend to prefer saving or paying in cash. The credit card usage there is much lower than it is in the United States. Number two, Japanese culture. Rooted in concepts of honor, duty, and shame, debt is seen as a personal and family burden. Historically, defaulting on debt was deeply dishonorable. And because of that, many Japanese avoid borrowing unless it's absolutely necessary. Over there, the household debt is relatively modest compared to Western countries. Number three, Chinese and Confucius cultures. Influenced by Confucius' values of family responsibility and stability, debt is often seen as a potential source of shame that could affect one's reputation and family honors. Older generation especially prefers saving, but the younger Chinese are now embracing consumer debt as the Western financial habits spread. Number four, Islamic and Middle Eastern countries. Islam has strong prohibitions against rabbi, which is interest. Many Muslims will avoid debt unless it's structured under Islamic financial principles. And because of that, Islamic banks exist specifically to create financial options without the traditional debt interest structure. And number five, Latin American cultures. Due to economic crisis, hyperinflation, and debt defaults, many families become skeptical about borrowing from banks. Debt is seen as risky and unstable. In some areas, people prefer informal lending or cash saving as opposed to institutional loans. However, this is changing with access to credit. Even though those countries fear debt, in America, it is normalized as a wealth building tool, whether it be a mortgage, student loans, credit cards, or even a car note. Pretty much anything you need, you can finance it. So Americans tend to fear it less and they carry much higher debt. And America isn't the only place that embraces debt. It's also the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, as well as other Southern European countries. It's more so the modern generation that is starting to embrace debt and leverage it so that they can acquire things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to. And many people in Caribbean countries fear debt as well. They prefer to buy things cash rather than owing money. And as you know, there's different strokes for different folks. So what works for you is what you should do. I'm not telling you that you should use debt in order to pay for everything, or you shouldn't use debt at all. You should find your balance and figure out what works for you, what outcome you want out of life, and what is the safest way for you to secure that. Because one thing that you need to understand is that not all debt is bad debt, but you first have to educate yourself and have the discipline to manage your debt before you ever make the decision to accumulate debt. That way, you're not spending money that you don't have without the intention of receiving a return in the future. But, anyways, how do you feel about debt? Do you fear it or do you see it as a lucrative wealth building tool? Let me know in the comments below. And it's about that time. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you're notified every time I make a new post. Until next time.